So you have everything happening at sea. I mean, these vessels stay at sea for years. Most of the fishing vessels don't go to harbors. They transfer their fish onto other vessels, they get refueled at sea, the crews are changed at sea, etc. So nobody sees what's happening ever. There's nobody to go there and tell them to respect the rules. It's difficult to describe unless you've seen it. It's another world, it's a different planet.
Illegal, unreported and unregulated fishing, or pirate fishing, has been identified as one of the most serious threats to the world's fish stocks. Pirate fishing vessels roam the seas, stealing fish, which frequently ends up on the European market and across the world. With limited capacity to patrol their waters, pirate fishing operators particularly target developing countries such as those in West Africa, leaving coastal communities that depend on fishing for food and income with next to nothing. The focus of the effects of pirate fishing has mostly been on the impacts on fish stocks, legitimate operators, and artisanal fishers. Yet the exploitation of those working on these vessels has gone relatively unreported. Considered to be one of the most dangerous occupations in the world, life as a crew member aboard any fishing vessel is often difficult and hazardous. Harsh weather, long periods at sea, and often the catch itself make for a hard life. But these dangers are exacerbated for those working on vessels engaged in pirate fishing, as monitoring them is extremely difficult. These vessels operate for one purpose: to maximize their catch and minimize their costs, breaking all the laws and controls other vessels abide by. They use flags of convenience, illegal fishing gear, poorly maintained junk vessels, and vulnerable, untrained, and unsupported crews. A ship is said to be flying a flag of convenience when it is registered in a country other than its own, mainly to reduce costs and to avoid its own government's regulations. Flag of convenience states, such as Panama, are notorious for turning a blind eye to offences committed at sea, and rarely, if ever, inspect or monitor vessels supposedly under their control.
Flags of convenience are a massive problem on our seas and oceans today. Why? Well, it's simple, because this is one of the best ways and means in which unscrupulous operators can avoid the controls and regulations that ensure sustainable fisheries, that ensure their crews are treated properly, the boats are managed properly, and that they abide by the same regulations that legitimate fishing operations abide by. Flags of convenience quite simply allow these operators to work outside of the law, and this means that they can do what they want, when they want, to whom they want.
Licence fees aren't paid, the ships are poorly maintained, and most seriously, the minimum standards of crew treatment, sanitation and safety are not met. Avoiding regulatory laws regarding their catches, the ships also escape questioning over the conditions in which their crews are working, leaving them without protection.
This is where 8 men share quarters. 4 on, 4 off, 4 sleeping while the other 4 work. Cardboard mattresses, there's no window, no fresh air, and straight out the door is the fish hold.
A joint EJF and Greenpeace International investigation off the coast of West Africa discovered a fishing vessel from South Korea. The large wooden structure haphazardly built onto the back deck housed 200 people, where crammed together they slept, cooked, and ate. Similar modifications on another vessel led to a fatal accident, killing 14 people. The majority of workers on illegal fishing vessels are targeted by recruitment agencies seeking vulnerable people from rural areas in developing countries where alternative work is scarce.
On n'est pas bien ici, mais on n'y peut rien. On vit avec parce qu'il y a la misère. Pour trouver du travail, on vient, on te propose un salaire de $200 pour aider la famille. Bon, c'est pas bon, mais on peut vivre avec.
In many countries, they're desperate for work, and then they are promised by unscrupulous agents that they'll get wages which are well above the money they can get back home. When they join the ship, it's becoming quite clear that there's a difference between what they have been promised and what's the life on board.
Many are not experienced fishers. The agencies are renowned for exploiting their poverty and illiteracy, extracting extortionate sums of money from the workers and trapping them in a web of payments and debt. Many crew members are held against their will with no pay, and passports and documents are taken away.
In many countries, they're supposed to work as long as the skipper says. On most of the fishing vessels flying the flag of convenience, we have discovered not just any normal working or living condition, it's just a floating prison. People there, in quite a significant number of cases, in slavery conditions. They're treated even worse than the fish they catch.
Incidents of physical abuse aboard these vessels are also common, some resulting in murder. Off the coast of Guinea, EJF also discovered dozens of rusting trawlers that had been abandoned. On board each vessel, men had been left with no radio communication or safety equipment for months and sometimes years. This crew member has been living on this abandoned ship for 7 months.
公司配的吧？
公司派的。
对，
你自己
有菜的时候，有时拉网船过来送些鱼什么东西，虾什么的，吃的东西有。
你自己想来吗？这个船？就是在这等。
现在在这等飞上来，谁也不会跟着吧。
Not only is pirate fishing a major contributor to overfishing in West Africa, seriously undermining the sustainable management of their marine resources, it is also responsible for some of the worst, unreported human rights abuses at sea. With an estimated 30 million fishers working aboard 4 million legal and illegal fishing vessels, there is a clear need for international action to end the exploitation of crew members.
EJF is campaigning for an end to flags of convenience for fishing vessels. We want to see this happen across the world on a global scale, and we believe it can happen quickly. What a ban on flags of convenience for fishing vessels will do, it will enable those authorities that monitor and control these operations to ensure that crews are treated properly. It will improve the lives of many thousands of these fishermen who are forced on these boats to do things they simply shouldn't be forced to do. It will also bolster and support the global initiatives that are so desperately needed now to ensure sustainable fisheries management and that we do not wipe out the remaining fish stocks that we all depend upon.